Hi, my name is Susan Hunt. I am a case manager with the PASS program, and I manage the Atlantic Canada area. So that would be New Brunswick, PEI, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland. I'm also a nurse and have been for 38 years. So this is a very rewarding role for me. One of the things that I will say about the care center is that it is an amazing team. Everybody works together, everybody supports each other, and that enables us to support the IANs the way we do. We are a team, we're more a family than a team, really, and making that difference for our IANs is huge for me. I've had them reach out and say, thank you. And even when I have my one-on-ones, they're like so grateful. And it's just amazing and help and support and make the difference for them so they can succeed in their journey and do what they've always wanted to do and be a successful nurse. So I love doing what I do and the team that I do it with. One of the things that I always say to them is they're never alone. We are here to support them, and we understand how the journey can have its ups and downs. And I really stress that we're here to help them. We're here to guide them. We're here to support them, and and to reach out. And that's why I send out a kind of a broad email to all my clients, at least monthly, and just to say, how's everybody doing? Well, I don't say everybody, but how are you doing? Please reach out. Don't ever feel that you can't, and we're here to support you. I think just them knowing that they have somebody makes that difference, and it's important. Hi, I just wanted to take this opportunity to wish all our IANs and all the IANs a very happy Nurses Week. And we want to thank you for all the things that you're doing, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us this Nursing Week 2026. My name is Luciana. I'm a case manager here at CARE Center for International Educated Nurses. I'm also an IN, International Educated Nurse, and registered nurse from Brazil. I'm working as a case manager, supporting international educated nurses with their professional journey, navigating all the challenges and steps on the way, and building successful nursing careers in Canada. It's been 15 years for me of my nursing journey, and with 10 years already practicing as a nurse in Canada. In 2022, I was honored by CARE Center for International Educated Nurses to receive the Joanne Lesmoon Award. And that was a recognition of my leadership and dedication to the nursing profession. So this is a great place to be as we are a community of internationally educated nurses. I'm also an instructor of the University of Toronto for the transition to practice in Ontario for international educated nurses. I work as an instructor, helping them also to be successful in this step and registration. Not only that, but be integrated in the healthcare system to be a safe worker. I work also as a lactation consultant, a registered nurse in Headwaters Healthcare Center, where I provide breastfeeding and infant feeding support to families in both inpatient and outpatient patients, while collaborating with the Dufferin Area Family Health Team in the Latin Learning Clinic to support the continuity of community-based lactation care. We say in the hospital, it's like a care to hospital to home. I'm also international board certified lactation, and I work as a lactation consultant, as I mentioned. Today, we hope you are enjoying your nursing week. We're gonna finish this week with this amazing presentation with an inspiring keynote speaker. Happy nursing week to all of you. And before we start, I would like to read the land acknowledgement. Do we have any image for that? We acknowledge that we are gathering on the traditional territories of the indigenous peoples who are the past, present, and future caretakers of this land that we call Canada. We acknowledge that we are gathered today virtually with participants attending from coast to coast to coast on the ancestral and ancient territories of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We respect and affirm the inherent and treaty rights of all indigenous peoples across this land. We recognize that we each have a role to play in the path of decolonization and ask you to now take a moment to reflect upon and acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and consider how we can each, in our own way, move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. So let's take this moment to reflect. Thank you. I would like to say a few words about our recorded keynote speaker, Dr. Leigh Chapman. Dr. Leigh Chapman is the Chief Nurse Officer of Canada, named in 2023 as one of Macklin's top 10 healthcare innovators and one of the 50 most influential Torontonians. Dr. Leigh Chapman is a leader within the field of nursing and healthcare. Leigh is a registered nurse with over 20 years of experience. Over the course of her career, Leigh gained a deep understanding of nursing through her work in both frontline and clinical leadership capacities. Her professional experience spans various settings, including clinical care, education, research, professional practice, administration, policy, and advocacy. After obtaining her bachelor degree in nursing, Leigh completed a master in clinical health sciences from the nursing graduate program at McMaster University. Leigh then completed her doctoral degree work in 2019 at the Lawrence S. Bloomberg Faculty of Nursing at the University of Toronto. Her research provided her key insights into ways in which the regulation of health professionals intersects with organizational priorities in acute care settings. As Chief Nursing Officer, Leigh recognizes the important contributions of nurses at the federal level and aims to ensure their integration into decisions impacting the profession. Within the role, Leigh provides strategic advice from a nursing perspective on priority policy and program areas. She plays a convening role with provincial, territorial governments, federal departments, regulatory bodies, colleges, educators, and others on key nursing issues. Additionally, Leigh represents the Government of Canada at public forums, both within and outside Canada. Leigh is committed to advancing the nursing profession in Canada to ensure equitable access to safe, quality care for all. It was a pleasure to meet her in person this year, I'm gonna say, at Care Center. So we're gonna watch a video after this.
Hello, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. My name is Leigh Chapman, and I'm the Chief Nursing Officer with Health Canada. Je suis l'infirmière en chef du Canada. I'm delighted to be wishing you all a happy Nursing Week. This year, the theme for National Nursing Week is the power of nurses to transform health. And when we think of internationally educated nurses, you are choosing Canada to transform our health systems from coast to coast to coast. So I really want to applaud the work that you're doing in a variety of sectors, in a variety of settings, and in a variety of organizations and even jurisdictions in Canada. You are a vital part of our health workforce in Canada, and we welcome you and thank you for choosing Canada. I hope that you all take time this week to celebrate the nursing profession, to acknowledge the important work of your colleagues, and to celebrate the profession. All of you are making such an important contribution to the health of people in this country. And I really want to thank you and wish you a very happy Nursing Week. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Thank you.
That's wonderful words from Dr. Chapman. And we thank her for her continued support to CAS Center for International Educated Nurses and for nurses across Canada. Before I introduce today's moderator, I would like to encourage everyone to use the Q&A section, the button in Zoom, to ask questions during the session. As brief questions and answers period will be given at the end of this session. I would now like to introduce you to today's moderator, Elmar Dionisio, who will be moderating today's session, my colleague from CAS Center. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Luciana. Happy Nursing Week and happy Friday, everyone. Now, I have the pleasure of introducing you to our guest speaker this morning. So, Phoebe Chometa is a dedicated nurse leader and the current manager of medical daycare and endoscopy units at St. Paul's Hospitals and Royal University Hospital of the Saskatchewan Health Authority in Saskatoon. Prior to those roles, she has managed nursing units and in acute units at SHA. With over 2 decades of nursing experience across the Philippines, the Middle East, and Canada, she brings a global and IEN perspective to healthcare leadership. An internationally educated nurse originally from the Philippines, Phoebe arrived in Canada in 2007 and navigated the challenges of transitioning into a new healthcare system with resilience and determination. She has since turned her experience into passion for mentorship and maintained strong onboarding programs and created supported environments that empower new nurses, both domestic and internationally educated, to grow and succeed. Phoebe is a strong advocate for IENs, and Phoebe's commitment to excellence and compassion earned her the Queen Elizabeth II Platinum Jubilee Medal in 2023 for her contributions to healthcare in Saskatchewan. Above all, she is driven by a simple yet powerful belief that kindness, mentorship, and teamwork are at the heart of great nursing. And coincidentally, today is celebrating Phoebe's 18th work anniversary at the Saskatchewan Health Authority, celebrating her 18th year as a Canadian registered nurse. So, Phoebe, I'll hand over to you.
Can I just interrupt for a minute, Phoebe? We'll go back to you in 1 second. Elmar, as a case manager, I would like to say that he also supports international educated nurses in the Saskatchewan and Manitoba provinces as they transition to the Canadian workforce. He has over a decade of experience in human resources and workforce development across both public and private sectors. Elmar is passionate about career development, including learning and supporting healthcare professionals in achieving their goals. It was also a pleasure to meet you in person in our last meeting at CAS Center. Now the floor is yours, Phoebe. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Thank you, Elmar, for the invitation and for the beautiful introduction. Now I feel the pressure to leave it up. And to all my fellow registered nurse and fellow international educated nurse, wherever you may be, congratulations. Being a nurse means that every single day is worth celebrating, isn't it? I still remember when I was a new nurse 33 years ago. Back then, my definition of celebration was simply finishing a shift without tears or finishing on time. Today, I stand before you feeling deeply nostalgic. As you have heard, today is my 18th year of service with the Saskatchewan Health Authority. When I started, I just said I will gonna just work for 10 years. But then when you love what you're doing, you go beyond what you set for yourself. 18 years of growth, challenges, and purpose, all as an internationally educated nurse here in Saskatoon. How do I even begin to summarize the journey? You will notice I have no slideshow. I want this as interactive as can be. So type your questions as I am doing my storytelling. You can also do anonymous if you're shy, and I will still answer you. I will share 3 stories from my life, 3 defining chapters that shaped who I am today. The first one, I'll call it as listening to the cues. It's about listening to your mind, your heart, and the quiet cues around you. My nursing career began in Philippines, but mostly spent in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia prior to coming to Canada. I worked with the Ministry of Health in a specialty hospital in an operating room. I completed my bachelor's degree in the Philippines, and after several attempts to secure a permanent job, I did not have much luck. Thus prompted me to look for a job outside the country. While in Saudi, I built a good career, had great friends, earned more than I needed, and had a contract that allowed me to return home to Philippines every 10 months with paid vacation and airfare. It's a dream work, right? Despite all this, I kept praying to work in a Catholic faith based hospital where I could practice my faith. I longed for a life where I could drive home freely, where I could upgrade my career, my education, and even wear regular clothes and socialize openly. So I began exploring my options. First, I looked at the United States. Said no, I had many relatives there and wanted to start fresh. This is my Miss Independent me. United Kingdom, no, the accent would be challenging for me, although really beautiful to listen. Australia, New Zealand, similar concern. And Philippines, not an option. I was already 35 years old then and felt it was too late to start my career in there. And Canada, maybe. I knew little about it, and all I know is it's cold. But and another thing I was thinking, what will happen to me when there is a blackout when it's too cold? Well, the cue in there is my mind was telling me I was capable of more. The desire for change was a signal that something greater awaited. As Steve Jobs said, stay hungry, stay foolish. In 2004, a good friend was offered a job in Regina as a OR nurse. She was very hesitant, but I encouraged her to pursue it. Before she left, she told me to follow her if things worked out. Months later, she called and advised me to begin the process of applying for a nursing license in Saskatchewan. The first requirement was an English proficiency exam. Confident that I had spoken English since childhood, I took the test but failed by only 0.5 points. The cue is be prepared when you go to a battle. Then I hired a coach, practiced daily, recorded myself talking, and worked on essay writing. On a second attempt, I passed. Soon after, I received an approval from SRNA, now it is a CRNS, on my licensure exam date, and I also got an offer from Pasco General Hospital. But 3 weeks later, it was withdrawn. I get an email that says, we are reconsidering our vacancy. I guess that is the polite way to say, we no longer hiring you. Frustrated? Yes. But I have no time to process that. I needed to create a plan B. After all, I got all I needed to um, what I needed to work in Canada. So I got my um, exam date. I have enrolled also in a Canadian nursing competency course in a college in Edmonton. I also had an acceptance for graduate nurse license. So all I needed is just to get to Canada and get a visa. I applied for a tourist visa as part of my plan B and faced many fears. But 10 days later, I received a single entry visa. I was so happy. At the Calgary airport, the immigration officer stamped my passport with one date and asked me if I know what it means. I said, no, but I hope it is good. She explained that I can stay for 6 months and I could look for a job. That was not what I was expecting. I was only expecting or asking for 3 months at least. That moment gave me a strong start. I moved to Regina, lived with my friend, and focused intensely on studying. On January 2008, I wrote the Canadian Registered Nursing exam, equivalent to NCLEX this time. During lunch, I met a fellow Filipina who told me that no Filipino passes this exam on the first try. So I'll give this one a question to everyone. How would you answer that? Something to think about, but my answer was, oh, that's sad, but I will pass. The cue is there. The cue in there is do not let discouragement define you. Few weeks later, I got the result. She was wrong. I accepted my first job in Saskatoon in a surgical unit in St. Paul's Hospital, a Catholic faith-based hospital. I have to do my immigration paper quick to change to a work permit. Lesson learned in this story is the perseverance, determination, and hard work pays off. Setbacks are not meant to last. The second story, I called it Resiliency 101. The journey to Canada was not easy. The real challenge began when I transitioned into ward nursing, an area outside of my expertise. I moved to Saskatoon alone. I felt lonely and struggled to adjust. I was slow, misunderstood often, and sometimes treated harshly. I was even told I might lose my job if I didn't improve. I felt different because I was, but I never compromised patient safety. So, how did I cope? I kept studying. I kept reading. I focused on improving. I strengthened my faith. I observed colleagues closely. I hang out to those who have positive impact on me. I accepted constructive feedback and reminded myself that this is temporary. I journaled my progress, tracked my mistakes, and learned my rights as an employee. I built a support system through new friends from the church and family remotely. One day, I successfully inserted an IV intravenous line on the first attempt when everyone else had difficulty. That small win changed how others saw me, that they become curious. And slowly things changed. I found my confidence, I found my rhythm, I found my place. And in the middle of that struggle, I made a promise to myself. One day, when I am no longer the one struggling, I will make sure no new nurse feels alone. The third story, I called it Be Careful on What You Wish For. This is about growth. It's getting better. And how life sometimes answers your prayers, your wishes, in an unexpected ways. When floating to another surgical unit, I discovered I enjoyed it and soon secured a position there. Within a month, I was asked to step in a relief charge nurse. Even without full orientation, I took the challenge. I accepted the role. While in that unit, I became a preceptor to fourth year nursing students. I also work as a part-time seasonal clinical instructor to second and third year nursing students of University of Saskatchewan and University of Regina, a way for me to know their nursing curriculum. Slowly, my passion for new nurses unveiled. I became also a temporary educator in the unit. and then I became a permanent clinical coordinator. While I was doing rounds one day, I happened to pass by my manager's office and I said to myself, one day, if that chair got vacated, I will take over. 2 months later, that position opened. I found myself stepping into formal leadership. I became the manager of nursing in the same unit I was working. That's why, as I said, be careful on what you wish for. It was overwhelming to start. With almost all 100 employees and 35 acute beds and a service that covers the province, it was not easy. The role was difficult, lonely, and challenging. There were moments that I want to quit, but I am in love with it. Then I found a mentor, someone who believed in me when I doubted myself. With guidance, I slowly grew into the role. She is my SOS when I can figure things out. And COVID came. I found myself leading through one of the most difficult times in healthcare. I was assigned to build the first COVID unit of Saskatoon with high acuity bed. That is in addition to the 35 other beds. Together with my team, we built the unit, trained new nurses, adapted quickly, and faced uncertainty every single day. On the personal side, I was also supporting a husband who is managing the intensive care unit of St. Paul's Hospital. We all know that they were the ones that was hit the most during COVID. So imagine the stress level. And through it all, I realized something powerful. I was no longer just surviving. I was leading. 2 years later, in 2022, an opportunity came brought everything in full circle. The government of Saskatchewan launched the Health Human Resource, and one of the initiatives was to bring in nurses from Philippines to work in rural. I became part of the team recruiting nurses from my home country. It was emotional. I saw myself in every nurse I interviewed, their hopes, their fears, their courage. I understand exactly what they were leaving behind and what they were reaching toward. And I knew this was the moment I had been preparing for all along. I'm grateful that I had been part of the two recruitment and developed new relationship and friendship, not just within my circle. I became involved in creating an IE and preceptorship course with Saskatchewan Polytechnic. Just a disclosure, managing IEN is not in my portfolio. It is all volunteer time. Every week I set aside the time to work with them. Was also invited to join the advisory council that reviews the school nursing curriculum, and I will be in that council for until 2027. The trend have changed. I have noticed that there are more foreign trained nurses coming to work. I redesigned my own surgical unit onboarding for internationally educated nurses, not just for Filipinos, but for every single nurse who comes to my unit all over the globe. The redesigned onboarding program included the following: spending time in the unit before starting the real work. I believe it is important to know your environment, the team, to get to know the technology, safety measures, and policy and procedures. They have 5 days structured classroom, learning common surgeries and common medications and everything else in between. I've tried to make as a consistent preceptor and delivered clear expectations. They are usually given 12 body shifts and schedule touch base with me and the nurse educator on how they're doing. The result in this was fewer safety incidents, greater confidence among nurses, smoother transition, and less turnover. Before I transitioned to this new position in endoscopy, I left the unit with zero RN vacancy. So today, I leave you with a few lessons, what I call my gems. If you're my friend in social media right now, and if you're there, you will gonna see what I have posted. This is for being an IN. So being an IN, you are different, and that is your strength. Your story, your background, your journey, those are your greatest assets. You have a unique story, and you have the ability to empower Canadian nurses and fellow IN and the values and skills you carry from home. I will share you quickly a story. We had this big surgical portfolio meeting. As an icebreaker, they posted a question on what's our first job. So everyone else answered like babysitter, gas pump, retail, ice cream scooper. When it was my turn, I was hesitant to tell them what's my first job because it was a medical representative and a prestigious company, different than anyone else in the room. True, I was asked with so many questions. When did you start? How did it become that you just have this job to start? And you know what? I get to share my culture. My parents takes pride in paying for my schooling. I never get to work until I get my degree. I spend my school holidays with them. So embrace your decisions. When you choose a path, walk it with conviction. Visualize yourself in the direction you want to go and embrace it with wholeheartedly. Believe in yourself always. Celebrate even the smallest victories. They matter more than you think. Be kind and genuine. The way you treat others will always define you. Whatever you throw to the universe will come back at you. Protect your balance. This is very important. When life feels heavy, hold steady in the areas you can control. Build your support system. You were never meant to do this alone. Although you only need one person to jumpstart your confidence, a person that believes in you, find that. Do not settle for less. And when everything gets better, pay it forward. It is uplifting when you are part of someone's betterment in life. And here is my final words for you. Nursing is not easy. I'm sure everyone knows that. It demands everything: your mind, your heart, your strength. But it also gives back in ways that are immeasurable. So hold on to your purpose, trust your journey, and never forget why you started. Because one day you will look back, just like I am today, and realize every struggle, every tear, every joy, every moment of doubt was shaping you into exactly who you were meant to become. If I made it, you too can. Happy Nurses Week again, everyone. And thanks for listening.
Thank you, Phoebe. Wow, that was a wonderful talk and very, very inspiring. And we actually have a few questions for you here. So let's play a little bit of a rewind. Let's go back to 2007. And we want to acknowledge the presence as well of our Chief Nursing Officer in Saskatchewan, Liliana Canadik, who is with us today. So Liliana has a question for you. Phoebe, what advice would you give to Phoebe, who just arrived to Canada and is wanting to work as a nurse?
Oh, that's a nice question. Thanks, Liliana. Thank you for attending. So, first, you need to learn the country, try to learn the culture, and look at yourself. What are your skills? Never stop being curious. Take a look on what can you do. Sometimes you don't have to start exactly on how you left your own country, but and also put in a little bit of humility. Like some when you move to a new country, you you'll start sometimes you'll start from the very bottom. So pay attention in your journey and learn to get to know people that has good impact in you, positive impact. Yeah.
Thank you. Another one now, moving on to present year. So we have a question from Omar. As a 46-year-old IEN and RN facing challenges in job searching despite being registered, what advice can you help to overcome potential age-related barriers?
I don't think age, well, I'm talking as a manager. I don't think age is a problem or like a barrier. I have a friend who has, I mean, we were just talking I think that was last month, and it seems like she have hit a wall. But I said, to her that there's always an opportunity. There's always and you have to include it your heart. Like sometimes one door closes, there's always another one. And I know that there's some season that it is really hard to find a job, but you don't stop. You just keep on searching. Sometimes you have to go out of your comfort zone in order for you to find that one job that would give you some fulfillment.
Thank you
Did
so
I?
much. And Omar, I advise please connect with your case manager as well, as we can help you in looking for those employment opportunities. And if anyone has any input as well on the case manager's perspective on age barriers relating to employment. Rola?
I want to take this opportunity to, I already thanked Phoebe when we were in the practice session, but I want to extend my really sincere gratitude for all the amazing work that you're doing and the incredible impact you are actually having on touching the lives of many IENs and many nurses who you mentor. And we're so happy at Care Center that you are going to be one of our expert nurses. We call them our mentors for the IENs. So thanks to Almer and thanks to our pre-arrival to post-arrival team and manager who've been actually working so hard to set our pan-Canadian offices across country. I would like to actually back to the point, Almer, regarding age. As Phoebe mentioned, getting out of the comfort zone, maybe that would be something any IEN should be considering, regardless of their expertise, their background, their age, their country where they get their education, because there are like kind of nuances to learn about in the Canadian healthcare setting. And sorry, I jumped into the conversation. I should maybe kind of introduce myself a bit and say I'm an IEN myself. I went through the journey like many of you. Maybe I was a little bit, I would say, privileged in the way my credentialing assessment has been done because of my education background at that time, back in 2010, where everybody was like kind of taking at least 2 to 4 years to become registered. I was registered in 2 years. So, and I went through the support of Care Center since my day one in Canada. I found out about Care Center. I went to their office and I said, here I am, how you can help me. I had a master's degree. I've been in nursing education. I've been a quality consultant, but I'm ready. I'm flexible to start and do whatever is needed to be done to become registered in Ontario and to relaunch my career wherever it's needed. So I started as a bedside nurse in Canada. I took some shifts here and there. I went into clinical instructor positions, into professor assistant positions. And this is how, and also I learned about new clinical settings in nursing, like community nursing and home care. I never thought about this was an eye-opener the day I took the mentoring program at Care Center, which is still available for many of our clients who are able to take a few days of their time, their commitments, their family kind of commitments, and do the observational job shadowing in multiple placements, not in one placement, and try to explore those clinical settings like community healthcare and like long-term care facilities and home care, because this could be something getting out of your comfort zone, learning about a new kind of roles of nurses and many others as well. So I wouldn't say age itself. Sometimes it's our mindsets and our actually doubt in, am I able to do this or not? Could I actually explore this opportunity or not? But once you actually start learning about it and getting familiar with the settings and with those opportunities, you will be doing great. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to share these things. So the first day I went to community nursing through the 4 villages in downtown Toronto. That was one of my lifetime experience, special ones to my heart, to learn about how nurses actually support the clients and the patients and their families in the community, in their homes. So this is maybe another thing to talk about and think about as IENs. Please explore those opportunities and never hesitate to reach out to us, Care Center, and to our mentors, as Phoebe, as great mentors, and to our case managers. Thank you, Almar, for allowing me to share those kind of little bit of my experiences here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rola and Phoebe. Just a follow-up question that someone asked, 61 years old, is that a problem?
Am I supposed to answer that? Is it me? It's for me?
Yeah,
Or is it for
it's
me?
everyone.
um, how would I say this one? Well, I am not sure if I would always look at your credentials first, your capabilities to work. There should be people should not be discriminated based on age, or it should not be chosen just because of age. When you come to work, you need to present yourself and what are your skill set, or what can you offer to work. So, and
Thank
your
you,
willingness
Phoebe.
to and your willingness to comply on the requirements on a licensure.
Thanks. And then we have a comment here. So, and a question, how do you work with operational leaders that are not used to working with IENs? What could you say to support the orientation of IENs? One thing to support the IEN when there are differences in working in Canada.
Well, I've experienced that one when we just started. Like, not everyone, you kind of have to accept that not everyone will gonna like a foreign graduate nurse. That is probably the harsh reality of being a foreign trained nurse. But if you explain, like, so I've experienced that one with my colleagues. Like, oh, I don't want to. It takes a while to train them. It takes a while. So I started coaching, and I spent time. I took when I was in a surgical unit, I have 6 IENs altogether training, and sometimes you just have to lead by example. So they have seen that I was able to accommodate those 6 ones. So I think it's 5 or 6, and all of them stayed in the unit. They transitioned, and it's just they just have to see it from you. And you also have to introduce, like I've been telling them on what how it is to be trained in Philippines. Like, yeah, it is challenging. I don't deny that, but you don't give up. You don't surrender. You just advocate. You just have to show them, or you lead by example.
Thank you. And this one from Nanette. I'm from the Philippines too. I'm taking NCLEX soon. And my question is, have it crossed your mind to change or transfer province aside from Saskatchewan? And a follow-up to that, why do you love Saskatchewan? What do we have in Saskatchewan, Phoebe?
Yes, no, I have no plans of going to any other province. I'm just going to be a tourist and to other places. But Canada is beautiful, I'll tell you. So when I started, I went around different provinces. I went to Toronto, like Ontario. I went to Alberta, went to British Columbia. All of them are beautiful with different like sceneries in there. But the purpose of me coming here in Canada is to prepare for my future. So I look at who offers better benefits, who offer better working condition, and I found Saskatoon is where I fit in. Sorry, what was the other question? Why Saskatoon?
Yeah, what do you love about living in Saskatchewan?
Okay, it is Saskatoon is a small city with a small town vibe. You can easily drive around the city in less than 30 minutes, and on summer it's beautiful here. You can walk around. There's a river across the city, and yeah, you it's I was just saying this to Elmar. It is not the husband that brought me to Saskatoon. It is my heart that brought me here. Work and my heart.
All right, thank you. And now down to the last 4 questions that we have here. So, what helped you transition from being a bedside nursing into a leadership role?
Sorry, I missed one part, like the first question.
What
Like,
helped you transition?
what helped me transition from a bedside. So I started get. I did not go from bedside nursing directly to formal leadership. I slowly went into. I started becoming an educator. So you are part of the unit leadership when you become an educator. I also took a job of a clinical coordinator. I call that one as a right hand of the manager of nursing. So I slowly walked into like a formal leadership. And one of the challenges really of when you become a manager in the same unit that you work on is you develop friendship. Like you have close friends, you go out, and when you become a manager, you're gonna have to put a boundary in that because now you are responsible on discipline. You are responsible of um, um, it, giving them direction, and you're also responsible and overall legally responsible on their safety. So you need to do that. But what helped me is by I'm genuine. I will tell you exactly what I have in my mind. I don't have problem putting boundaries on. I lost some friends, but I gained a lot when I moved to a leadership role.
Thanks, Phoebe. Third to the last question, and the remaining of the questions will reach out to you. You can send us an email to and our
For sure.
email mailbox at Care Center. So, next one, in your point of view, what are the chances of IENs moving to leadership position in the future, considering the dilemma of seniority requirement?
You will always have a chance. You always have a chance. Seniority isn't okay. I will gonna talk about the leadership here in Saskatchewan. You will be out of you will be called out of scope. So the seniority is not the key points on hiring you. It is on understanding what are you applying for, what do you want to do, what are your skill set, and matching in that in the job that you're looking for. There shouldn't be any hindrance of you are an IEN. There shouldn't be any hindrance of being a leader just because you are an IEN. No, that should not be. That should not be.
Thanks. Second to the last, what challenges do you commonly see among new or returning nurses, and how can we overcome them confidently?
So you mean returning nurses to what do you mean? Returning to service
To practice, maybe, yeah.
to practice? I I think it is on the because nursing is always evolving. There's always something. Technology is always evolving. I think that's one of the most challenging part. Sometimes you left the service in this scenario and then you come back with a totally different scenario. So I think it is one of those challenges that you just have to update yourself.
Thank you so much. And final question, what kind of support do you think makes the biggest difference for internationally educated nurses? Just to wrap all the questions here that we have this morning.
I think one of the biggest is as a manager, as a nurse leader, you need to get to know your IEN. You get to know their where they come from, their education, and it's also good to do that because you get to know the other part of the world and what is their nursing. And you always have to have your presence as a manager. You need to support by your presence, give them. You have to remove that, you know how when the manager is always with the staff, it's always what have I done, something. It's always in the negative side. So turn it into a positive, that your presence is because you're supporting and you want to get to know that individual.
Thank you so much for the inspiring talk, Phoebe. And for anyone who has further questions, feel free to reach out to me or to our Care Center mailbox. And you can reach out to me or to Phoebe or to anyone of us here at Care Center. And now we are moving on to the final part of our session this morning. So I'd like to close our session. I'd like to introduce you to our ED who you met earlier, Rola. Rola L. Montador, RN, BSc, and MQM, CNE, and SIEN is the Executive Director at Care Center for Internationally Educated Nurses in Ontario, and an instructor at the University of Toronto School of Continuing Education, where she teaches the transition to practice course. She holds a Master in Quality Management from the University of Wollongong and the Bachelor of Science in Nursing from the American University of Beirut. Rola co-edited and co-authored the Springer publication Globalization and Integration of Internationally Educated Nurse, a comprehensive analysis, and co-authored e-posters presented at the International Council of Nurses ICN Congress in 2023 and 2025. She also serves on the board of directors at Siena and co-chairs its mentorship and education committee and co-chairs the international interest group at the Registered Nurses Association of Ontario. A passionate advocate for IENs, Rola is committed to mentorship, policy influence in advancing health equity across global nursing communities. So, Rola, I'll hand it over to you to close our session.
Now I'm looking for my unmute button with so many screens here. And thank you so much for actually all these great words, and sometimes to hear what is exactly kind of you all about. It's hard to kind of think about it, like the journey, the accomplishments that are all actually not actually a one-man show. It's a teamwork, and it's the mentors and the educators and the colleagues who shaped your journey and helped you to know more about yourself and what you can accomplish and what you can achieve. And as we wrap up the Nursing Week, and it's been a very inspiring, very meaningful to many nurses and many IENs this year, and always remind us that nurses are the power to transform healthcare systems, and IENs leading the way because they lead the way, as Phoebe showed us today, and also and the other kind of sessions for the John Lesmond Award winners. Luciana, I can see on my screen many of our IENs who are actually participating and joining us. So this is so honoring to be actually the one who holding the accountability and holding and carrying forward what IENs actually fundamentally needs, and how we can support them, how we can work together as a community that support each other as IENs. And I have to say, when I stepped into the role, thinking about Phoebe's journey and how you find yourself sometimes in those moments where you need to step into a role which you think it's, oh, I'm in a big shoes now. I need to be doing more. I need to be learning more. And I need the support of every mentor and every team member and every IEN that I actually learn from through my journey. So being in the executive director position and succeeding a legacy in leadership, Dr. Ruth Lee, who actually was a mentor for me and who shaped a lot of the work that Care Center has actually founded over the years, over the 9 years. So here we are together, supporting the mission, the values we carry, and also carrying forward the torch to keep enlightening each other, supporting one another as nurses, as IENs, as nursing professions as well. And Happy Nursing Week is because we are celebrating this week with many non-nurses and many non-IENs as well that supported IENs, that supported nurses through their actually support to their clients and to the communities they serve. Thank you, everyone, for actually being here for more of the sessions, or for joining today our session. And thank you again, Phoebe, for the insightful expertise and for all the amazing work and I would say impactful work that you're doing. And we're looking forward to working with many of the IENs on the call, being as well in their journey, completing their journey towards licensure, or just stepping into a new role through our workplace integration program. We are here to help the two-way process. We're helping employers because there were questions as well about how actually the preceptors, the leaders, the employers welcome IEN. So workplace integration program. And in the book that I shared the link to, Globalization and Integration of Internationally Educated Nurses, a comprehensive analysis speaks a lot about workplace integration and transition into practice for IENs through this two-way process and supporting preceptors, because many of the preceptors and clinical educators and managers, they might actually themselves still exploring and navigating how they welcome and support IENs in an inclusive way, in a diverse way. So here we are all together supporting this mission, vision, and values, and also never hesitate to either ask, never hesitate to get out of your comfort zone, as Phoebe mentioned, explore new opportunities, learn more about your skills, talents, competencies, areas that of strength, how to develop those areas that needs improvement, learn more about the new system that you are in as an IEN. And this is how you develop and grow and advance in your career. It's the flexibility, the open-mindedness, is the tapping on and counting on all the support from mentors, from other leaders who've been through the journey as well. And we're offering ourselves at any point to help and support you as IENs, supporting the healthcare system, supporting our nursing profession. Once a nurse, forever a nurse, and your success is our success. This is our tagline. We live it, we breathe it, and we carry it forward. So I can keep on and on. You have to stop me, Almar, for that, because the passion in me comes on, and I will not stop. So I want to wrap up the week and say thank you again, my heartfelt appreciation and admiration and to everyone who went through a journey and shared their journey with us this week.
Thank you, Rola. And that wraps up our session for this week. Thank you, everyone, for joining.